To take this time to yield my time to the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Weber.
Thank you. I thank my friend from Florida. Thank the gentleman from Florida. And Madam Speaker, I will tell you what the gentleman from Florida is describing is American and Israeli blood on the hands of terrorists who now have American cash in their back pockets. It is unbelievable. The history is that since 2003, the Palestinian Authority has provided government salaries to Palestinians imprisoned in Israeli jails. Let me again say, with Israeli blood on their hands. Prisoners who have actively participated in terrorist activities, according to the Palestinians' language of their own law. Quote, anyone imprisoned in the occupations or Israel's prisons as a result of his participation in the struggle against the occupation, end quote, is eligible for a monthly salary. Let me be clear. A prisoner may qualify for a government salary if and only if they have killed an Israeli and or participated in terrorist activities. As an extra, dare I call it, bonus, if their crimes are so extensive as to warrant imprisonment for 5 years or more, the government salaries will continue until 3 years following their release from jail. Salaries are also given to the families of suicide bombers or those who die, quote, while participating in the struggle, end quote. Originally, these salaries were set at a minimum of $250 per month, American dollars. The payments were increased by 300% in January of 2011. At present, the PA is paying up to $15 million in government salaries to those convicted of crimes each month. Seems like a pretty good deal to me. Commit a terrorist attack, get yourself caught and imprisoned by the Israelis, and you can win free food, shelter, education, medical care, and a salary significantly higher than what you can collect on your own in the outside world. How are we to believe the sincerity of a government who incentivize violent acts of terror against the very nation with which they are supposedly negotiating a treaty for peace? In a meeting with the Palestinian chief negotiator, Saeb Erekat, while in Ramallah, I told him actions speak louder than words. They needed to stop glorifying terrorists and instead glorify peace. They needed to renounce terrorism. They needed to admit that Israel had the right to exist as a Jewish state. He was not a happy camper. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Authority doled out $100 million in salaries to 4,762 prisoners last year, Madam Speaker. An additional $46 million has already been allocated this year, and we're only 4 months into the year. Members, let me tell you, that averages out to $2,400 per prisoner per month, all for participating in terrorism. What's worse? We're helping the Palestinian government in their efforts. Did I mention they've got Israeli and American blood on their hands and American cash in their back pockets? Approximately 85% of all international aid money sent to the West Bank and Gaza goes to government salaries. In spite of multiple congressional freezes on government aid, President Obama has continued to waiver authority to release millions in American taxpayer dollars to that same Palestinian Authority. In fact, since 2008, we have averaged $500 million a year in bilateral assistance. How does that protect our nation or our very best ally, Israel? Where's the sense in that? In the words of the Texas Revolutionary Lieutenant William Barrett Travis, I call on you members, paraphrasing, in the name of liberty, patriotism, and everything dear to the American character, to come to our aid. We've got to stop this foolishness. We require foreign contractors, vendors, and employees to be properly vetted prior to receiving government grant funds to ensure that we're not unintentionally contributing to terror around the world. Why are we allowing it to happen here, for heaven's sakes? And you're right, Congressman Yoho, at a time when our constituents are pulling out their receipts, drafting their tax returns, planning their annual budgets, we should be ever more diligent on spending their tax dollars. The appropriation committees must ensure that the language they craft, the authority they give, safeguards against us ever contributing to the financial well-being of those who seek the destruction of our allies or our great nation. Foreign aid is not a right. It's a gift from the American people. Terrorists with blood on their hands, we don't want to support terrorists with American and Israeli blood on their hands and with American cash in their back pockets. We must not let that happen. I'm Randy Weber. You know I'm right.
I'd like to thank the gentleman from Texas.